And that's, I guess, one of my like top time management things is I feel like I say the same thing to my team and to other coaches over and over again in conversation because they just have the same questions. So I've gotten into a habit of recording almost everything I do, even though like this is a mess right now. Like I am just like, I can't get bogged down with perfectionism and looking great and everything. So I'd rather have the content. And if I have time later, I'll redo it. But I know I needed a video like this for my team anyway. So I was like, well, let's just record it and then I can save 30 minutes or whatever, you know, it winds up being. So just FYI that it's getting recorded. I'm going to go through, it's kind of a shortened presentation. I did it a Super Saturday on this, but I will tell you, like, I am a super busy person. I was just telling Lacey, like, my life used to be super crazy. I was a full-time teacher at like a charter school that the kids were in school 8 to 5 and weekends. And so my hours were 60 plus hours a week. And I worked my business at that time. I'm now a full-time coach and I have an 11-week-old and it is absolutely crazy. And I was saying my husband works 90 minutes away and I'm in charge of everything for her and my stepson almost all day. And I still get time to work my business. And I will say I've actually had my best 2 months, the past 2 months now that she's been born. I don't know if she's good for my business or whatever. But the one thing I learned was that you have to maximize your time. So I'm just going to screen share and I'll upload this. I'll upload this too. I also talk kind of fast. So sorry in advance if it's like super fast. Okay. So I had heard once on a call and it really stuck with me that, you know, Beachbody isn't my life, but it gives me my life. And I think that that's so important with coaching because I'm a really all or nothing person. And so when I started actually working my business, which was about 6 months into coaching, I went like way too in and I didn't have enough boundaries. I was attached to my phone. And I hear this from coaches all the time that they're getting like, you know, crap from their family or their husbands or whomever about it. And I will say that that definitely was something that happened to me. I was attached to my phone all the time. And what changed for me was I did a lot of personal development and time management. I went to the Franklin Covey training that was offered a couple years ago by Beachbody. And I just was like, how can I fit this in? Because I think sometimes we feel like just because we can't do everything, we shouldn't do anything at all. And it was like paralyzing me from doing stuff. So I'm just going to give you some tips that have really, really worked for me. And I will say, like, I've gotten my power hour done. Like I work every day but Saturday, and I've gotten my power hour done even since the baby was born. I would say at least 80% of those days that I had scheduled to get them done, which is pretty darn impressive, considering I've had to change the way I work. So I'm going to actually talk about a couple different ways to get things done. So the first one is that mindset. Like time is this finite thing we will never, ever, ever get back. So I'm just such a big proponent on like, I have to tell my time what to do. If not, I'm sitting here scrolling through and Netflix is asking me if I want to watch another episode or, you know, Facebook has sucked me into the scroll. So, you know, you have to own it and say to your time, like, I'm going to maximize every minute. And the one thing that was actually good when my husband was home on paternity leave with me is he saw all the systems that I had for like the dumb, like, if I'm putting something in the microwave for 60 seconds, I'm going to start unloading the dishwasher in those 60 seconds and put away whatever I can in 60 seconds and then stop until I get another 60 seconds. And he's like, wow, like all of your systems seem to really work. And it's because I don't want to waste time. And it's the same with your business. So you have to maximize what you have. And just the mindset that I tell myself, and someone had even asked me the other day, like, how do you work out every day still? Like, how do you find the time? And I said to my challenger, I said, I just stopped believing the excuses I was telling myself that I didn't have the time to do it. On my workouts, like for real, I have to hit pause. If it's an hour workout, like I'm hitting pause 3 times because the baby's waking up and I have to give her pacifier or I have to stop and come back to it later, but I get it done by the end. And so, you know, I just kind of, you have to stop saying to yourself, like, I don't have the time. I'm very busy. Like everybody is busy, but if you get that in your mind, you're just going to let that own you. So the one thing I wanted to talk about, especially like, and I moved this around a little from when I did it a Super Saturday, as leaders, like this is where I had started to fall. And when I'd worked last year with Paul Jensen, he taught me this and it had really, really helped my business. So as my team started to grow last year, I was putting so much time into building new trainings and doing things for them and answering their questions that I wasn't focusing on my vitals. And because of it, it was so hard for me to hit Success Club. And I'm sure a lot of you like Success Club is your non-negotiable. I did it every month and it's been like 30 months in a row or something now. But I was struggling. It was like the last week of the month and I was like, I can't hit Success Club. I can't do it. Whereas once I switched how I spent my time, I actually I normally hit Success Club by the 10th of the month and then I work for 10 or more by the end. And it's because I switched how I was doing my time management. So your team is important and you have to lead them, right? But you have to spend more time on your business. And so Paul taught me this RSVP method, and you probably have seen it. But I just wanted to review in case you haven't. So the R and the S is recruitment and sales. And that's where you should spend 70% of your business, no matter how big your team is. And that's invites, that's sending new contacts out, running your challenge groups. Same thing with sales, your follow-up. All those vital behaviors that fit in your business, that needs to be the bulk of what you do. And then the V and the P, your very new coaches and your top performers, that's the last 30%. And that's where you need to spend time with your coach basics and mentoring your new coaches and your getting started right calls and the performance part. And this is the hardest for me. And this is where I've struggled and gotten a lot better at. But you want all your coaches to be successful, right? Because you see their potential. But sometimes you can feel like you're putting in more effort or you're putting in more work, and they're not meeting you where you are. And I felt myself like getting into that trap where I was like putting my goals maybe too much on them, or I was like getting disappointed when they weren't hitting the level like of potential I thought they should. And instead I realized I need to focus my time on people who are meeting me where I am. It's not only fair to them, but it's fair to me. And I actually just got a new scheduler. I'm trying it out for 2 weeks to see. It's Acuity scheduling, where you can put in your hours and then you can send links out to people to make appointments with you. So I used to be like, hey, what time's good for you? Let's go back and forth. And that was a waste of time. So now my coaches, so I offer up a call with anyone who hits Success Club on my team in the entire downline. They just have to schedule it with me. I'm not going to stalk them. They have to do it. My new coaches to do our getting started right. And then any of my PS coaches who want to call with me can do it. The only thing I ask is that they send a copy in of their business activity tracker, whatever form they use, upload it before they make the appointment. And it won't let them make the appointment unless they do that. And I do have a general link. So if I know someone just has a question, they're working their business, but they just want to talk to me for a bit, I can send them that. There's no like prereq for it. But that's the one thing I'm hoping. And again, I just started it. No one has made an appointment yet. So I'm hoping people aren't like, oh my gosh, or maybe they're trying to get a tracker together, even if it's not perfect. The point of that is I need to like, for my sanity, my family, my business, I need to spend time with people who are matching my effort. And so like, even if you send me a tracker and you have zeros, at least I know you tried to send something and you're meeting me somewhere, compared to, getting on the same calls with the same coaches and answering the same questions and talking about the same goals. And then they fall off and aren't doing work. And you're like, I just spent an hour of my, time invested in you. I need you to invest back. That was really hard for me because I'm like an enabler and I just want everyone to do really well. And if someone doesn't succeed, I was taking it really personally, like I did something wrong as their coach. And I learned that like it's their business. They have to take the initiative. I'm there to mentor them. And that's something I say to my new coaches. I say, I'm your business mentor. I am not your boss. I'm here to help you. And if you want to walk, I'll walk. If you want to run, I'll run. If you want to sprint, I'll sprint with you. But you have to meet me, there. And I've been doing that with my new coaches where we won't even get on our second call after a GSR until they send me the second page of the coach action plan in the back office. And out of I think I had 9 coaches. It's like my biggest month last month. And the 5 that wanted to work the business, 4 of them sent it to me within 24 hours, even though I told them they had up to a week if they wanted. So, it's kind of like you teach people how to treat you and you teach them how to respect your time. And when you're constantly answering texts, when you're constantly answering messages, when you're constantly doing things that they could find in an FAQ, like it doesn't allow them to grow and it doesn't maximize your time, and it teaches them that you're always there to answer their questions when you don't have to always be there. That's not the point. I think I might talk about this in another slide, but I just kind of wanted to go with that. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So setting boundaries. So the first one is investing your stakeholders, and this is your family. I know I hear sometimes from coaches, their husbands or their family like doesn't get it. Like my mom did not know what I did as a coach until she did the 21-day fix for the first time. It was like, oh, this is nice, but like they don't understand it. And so I think it's important to have open communication about your why with them and say, listen, I'm working towards this goal. I want to save this money so we can go on this vacation or whatever it is, and invest them. Make a chart so your kids can help you cross it off. And I say to my stepson, it's different now with the baby, obviously, but when it was just me and him, I would say, listen, I need to get this call in. It'll take me 30 minutes. So then I can have 30 minutes that I'm spending with you and I'm not on my phone. And when I'm with my family, like I'm not checking in on my phone. Like we have no tech time, like for a reason. And I respect that. And I want them to know that they're important too. So I talked about the work, investing your team. So one is having work hours as much as you can. The automatic response is a really great one. I learned this from a training I was in. And so this is the line I say to all my new coaches and all my new challengers, and it has really helped me. I think this was from Covey. And I just say, whenever I send one, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I have set work hours so that I can respect my boundaries and my family time. If you need to shoot me a message, feel free to do so. Write it down. Use our team page or the FAQs. If I don't get back to you right away, I'm not mad at you or anything. I just need to prioritize and respect my family. And I will tell you that everybody, no, not everybody, but most people are like, oh my God, I totally love that you respect that, because it shows them they don't have to let this business own them. And then the other thing is delegation. Ask your team if they'll host a call. If you're like running a coach open house and need to get testimonies or stories, ask them if someone can organize it. You know, when I was having the baby, I just had to reach out to my team and say, I need help with this. Can someone own XYZ? And then investing in yourself. So a couple things I'm just going to teach you that I use that help so much. Okay. So I had to do this when I was a teacher. And then when I became a full-time coach, I had plenty of time to do like an actual power hour. And now with the baby, I do not have that time. So I work in 10-minute chunks. So I use the app Wunderlist. It's an app, or you can get it on your computer. I like it because it gives me a little ding every time I cross something off. And I have a section called Power Hour where it's chunked out everything I do in my Power Hour every day. This is like an old screenshot of what an old Power Hour looked like for me. And everything in it, I have to be able to do in 10 minutes or less. So I set a 10-minute timer and I do what I can do for 10 minutes and I come back to it when I have time. Now, if the baby is still sleeping after 10 minutes, I'm going to keep working, right? But I don't say, oh, I'm not going to do all of my inbox because I can't do any of, or I'm not going to do any of my inbox because I can't do all of it. I do 10 minutes of it. I check, so that if she's awake, I work. And I will also say, like, when she's awake, I'm not working. And like, I have made that, like, I'm home with her to spend time with her. And like, yeah, there are times where I have to do calls. Like if she woke up right now, I'd have to hold her and do a call or whatever it would be. But I'm not going to sit on my computer and answer messages. And this can sometimes I think piss people off. Like they're like, oh, I see you on your phone. Like you're, maybe I'm posting a cute picture of us, right? But who doesn't at their job pick up their phone, right? Put up a Facebook pic or a status and then put your phone back down. So I make sure like I only get to my messages once a day, sometimes twice. And I'm okay with that. And once I had to mentally say, stop being so afraid that I was going to lose a sale, or stop being so afraid someone get mad at me, then it was fine. Like if someone really wanted to go to another coach because I didn't work fast enough for them, they're not the person I want to work with. So that helps me a ton. My goal now with the baby is like, if I could get this Power Hour done in 24 hours. So if it's 4 a.m. and I finished feeding her and I want to go to my like page and check in for a minute before I go to bed, I'm going to check it off. Like I have to figure out how it works. So figure out what works for you. And Julia Boris, she talked a lot about this on the wake up call this week. So if you haven't listened, she really talked about like your focus time. And I found the same. I'm much more focused in the morning. So like even this morning, I got up to feed her at 4 and I was like, I could go back to bed until I have to like get my steps on up, but I just stayed up and I got my workout in and did stuff. So I already started my day. Okay. So some organizational things that help me. And these are things you have to schedule time to do. I schedule, it's called project work time, twice a week in my calendar, where I work on projects and fun stuff. Cause I tell my team, like, you have to get your power hour done before you do the shiny stuff. And it takes time to get organized, but then when I'm doing my power hour, it's easy. So, there's a way, I don't really remember the directions, but you can YouTube how to download your Facebook list. And the way I've done that is helped me because now I have a list of all my Facebook friends, and I'll show you a screenshot in a second, where if I'm like, who can I invite? I know who to invite. So when it's inviting or follow-up time, it's super easy. The other thing I do is I use a whiteboard. So anyone that I'm talking to about a challenge group, I keep in red until they commit to the group, and then I change it to green. And then I can kind of see that. I have a tenant playlist, and now I haven't been able to work in my office as much, so I have a portable office, aka a notebook, that I keep a lot of my stuff in, but I make sure it gets transferred electronically. So whatever works for you, paper, pen, or electronic. Sorry, I know I'm going like super fast. Okay. This is a copy of my contact list or my Facebook list. So I have their name, where I met them on the left side. If I have it highlighted, that means I've invited them. Super easy, right? If you're like, oh, I don't know who to invite, you just go to this list and you're like, oh, look, I have all these people I haven't highlighted. Let's see if they have a need. And then on the right is kind of a copy of my follow-up list, the date I invited them, the program, and their notes. And this is from July when I made it. But as you can see, there's like an Excel column. So if you know about Excel, I put in the date that I'm going to do the follow-up. And then I just filter for that date. So today was the 8th. today I filtered for the 9th. So I filtered for the 9th of March. Anyone who was on that list, I followed up with, or I assigned them a date for the next month because maybe they never got back or whatever it was. And this saves me so much time because I used to be queen of like post-it notes everywhere and then I forgot about people. So this is how I can do my follow-up super quickly. Some other quick tips. If you don't use Evernote, I really recommend it because it syncs to your phone and your computer. I save scripts there. I save the stuff I say a million times a day. I save links. So if you also don't use coachingcodes.com, it's a website where you can get all of your coaching codes with your rep ID and you can copy and paste it. And it takes less time than like going to the website on your phone. So the ones I use the most, I use there so I can just copy and paste them. Again, saves you time just to be organized. Oh, this is just an example of a 21-day fix script that I use. I send it all the time. And I just keep it in my Evernote because I honestly say like this closing part like a million times and it just really helps me not have to type things 100 times. It also helps me, I will admit, I do have an assistant that works for me 4 hours a week and does some stuff, so I can save stuff there for her. It also helps because I didn't have a lot of stuff saved electronically for a while, and I realized that my team was struggling because I didn't have the language. And so now I just, whenever I feel like I'm saying stuff a lot, I put them in my Evernote as scripts so then I can share them with my team. So whenever you're starting to create stuff, make sure that you're saving it on a Google Drive or your Evernote so that you can give it to your team and duplicate it for them. And this is just a little bonus. So this has saved my life. I do not have a Facebook newsfeed. It looks like this. It says, don't get distracted by Facebook. It is a Chrome extension. It is called Kill Your Newsfeed. And you can download it onto your computer, not on your phone, but it's on your computer, and I don't get sucked into it. So instead, I use Facebook lists to keep track of potential people that I'm talking to keep track of connections I've made, to keep track of whatever you need to use for a Facebook list. I can still get all my notifications. I can still check my groups. All that is the same, but I'm not sucked into the scroll. And if I want to scroll, I can do it on my phone when I've kind of earned that time. And that's how I look at it. When I earn the time after I've done my work, I get to look at everyone's babies and dogs. Okay. So this is just real quick how to make a list if you don't know how to make an interest list. Very much on the bottom, it says interest. You click more and you create a list and you add interest. So here are some that I have. So Right Hook, those are people who've commented or liked any of my Right Hook pictures on Facebook for my challenge groups, my coaches. I have one now for anyone I've reconnected with. I have one of men. I have one of women. I also will give you another time saver. I just learned there's another Chrome extension called Invite All, where you can invite all your Facebook friends. I can't remember if it was, maybe it was on this call when we were talking about events, but you can invite all of your friends. So if you make a list of them, you could just click on that list and invite the people on the list. And that is a huge time saver as well. Okay, let me pull you guys back up and stop screen sharing. And I know I talked really fast and like threw a lot of stuff out there, so I can go back to anything that I zoomed through or anything you wanted more clarification on. And my baby's swing has just stopped, so she might get up in a second. So we will see how this happens. But I save time by talking fast. That's all I got.
Cara, that was awesome. I love how you said, if you don't own your time, it will own you. That is so true. That is so true. And I loved how you set boundaries with your coaches, you guys, because you'll get burned out. If you're doing Beachbody 24/7, you can only do that for so long. So set boundaries, they'll respect that. And just like you said, they respected it. And I love also too, where you're like, make a plan. I think you get so overwhelmed because you want to get everything done so fast. It's like, take a moment, step back and make a plan. Fail to plan to fail. And so I loved everything. I've got a whole page of notes.
That was amazing because I feel like you were just like speaking to me, because that my biggest struggle is like all this stuff, especially when you're talking in the beginning and you're like, okay, you have to do your business first, because like when you have a team that's growing, you get so excited to work with them and suddenly you look up and you're like, oh my gosh, where did my day go? Like I haven't even hit Success Club. So I'm curious though, because when you were talking a lot about like the guilt of setting boundaries, how did you were talking about like an automatic responder for your coaches, and like, I actually already started a call scheduling, but I just like how, like, I guess I'm curious more about your systems of like setting the links and setting the hours and communicating that to your coaches, and like you said most of them are okay with it, but how do you handle the ones who are like annoyed or what? I mean, I guess I'm just curious.
Yeah, and so the automatic responder, it's like, I think I learned this at Smart Success. It's totally fake. Shalene told us to do it. You put it in your notepad and then you just copy it and paste it. And people text you all the time. And you just say like, these are not my business hours. I will get back to you when I'm working again. And you just copy it and send it to people. And Shalene was like, just send it. Nobody knows it's not like a real one.
So you send that in like Facebook messages or text
You
email?
totally could. You could use it in any of those.
Okay.
So, I mean, whatever. I think it was hard. It was a hard transition because like I was saying, like you teach people how to respect your time because you have already set these boundaries, you know? And so, I mean, I kind of, at the beginning, when I started to transition over, it was after Smart Success, I think. And I just like said, this is how it's going to be. And, you know, most of them, like I said, they were like, whatever, they understood that because they have families. And I do have a few like challengers, for example, who will text me like, a lot of like things that then they're like, oh, but I saw this on Pinterest and it was like said this instead. And I'm like, well, you don't need me to do that. And I just say, I said to her the other day, I was like, you know, I can give you whatever information I can give you. I can't get back to your messages right away. I'm sorry if that's not the coaching relationship you want, but that's kind of how I do things. And it is what it is. And if like anyone like feels like that's rude or they want to go somewhere else, like then they're not the person meant to be in my circle. And I firmly believe that the people that are meant to be in your circle are going to be in your circle. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had to just be okay with that. And I don't know, maybe like my coaches think I'm like not nice or something. Maybe I have no idea, but I can't worry about that. And like, that's hard. That's like all PD. I think I shared last time, like I Am That Girl. If you've never read that book, read that. Because I was like, yes, I need to own it. Like it's for me. Like you have to, because your family, your goals need to trump your team. They have to, you know, your team, like my team is my family, you know, but at the same time, like I have a real family and that needs to be, because it's also not setting a good example for them, because then what they're going to do is be on call for their people all the time. It doesn't teach them how to be leaders. It doesn't teach them how to be independent. You know, if you can find if you can find the cost of a challenge pack, like you need to find it in their FAQs, because when you sign coaches, they're going to, you know, like that you need to find it. And I think it's sometimes what it is for me is out of actually necessity now, only being able to answer my messages once a day, that's helped, because by the time I get back to the message, they've gotten annoyed with waiting for me and they've just found it on their own. You know, that's like the one thing. Or they've decided to ask on the team page or, you know, like I just can't get back to it. So that was a necessity for me. So you could just like pretend you have a newborn or something and you can't get to your messages more than once a day, you know, like just do it.
I will at the end of July. So I might be messaging you because I also just recently became like a full-time coach, and like when you're talking about being able to juggle it with a newborn, I'm like, oh my God, I need to like soak this all in because
and work on it now so that you have it, you feel better with doing it. I think it's hard. It's not, I'm not going to lie. Like I feel bad if I mess up and I can't get to someone right away and they needed the information, but I can't own that. And I have to
I like that. That's really interesting that like, I guess some of the systems like you're talking about that, like it's an automatic thing, but it's just, you just started messaging them. Like you didn't post in your team page, like these are my hours or anything like that. You just started like individually.
No, I did like each quarter I'll do like kind of a, like, these are our goals. This is what we're doing. So like when I did the Acuity scheduler, I put a message out there. These are the different types of calls that you can schedule with me. And these are kind of like how you get them, like type of a thing. Like you have to upload a tracker or I'm not, like, I just put it up there, you know? And like I said, that was like 3 days ago. So that's a new one for me and no one's scheduled anything. So I'm like, oh crap. But we'll see how it goes. You know?
Yeah, I've been using a scheduler for the past few weeks, and I will say, like, when you're talking about the PD aspect of it, I've been like telling them, like, I won't do a GSR with you until you do the first 5 days of training, because to me, the first 5 days of training are like, it's like an hour. Like, if you're not willing to spend an hour doing that, then you don't get an hour of my time. But they have come to me and been like, oh, but I don't have to. It's like hard to keep pushing back. So I guess that's for PD. What scheduler do you use?
Acuity.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious. Cool. I'll let someone else ask questions, but awesome information. I'm really glad this was recorded.
Can you tell us again what that little, the site, I think it's an app that you use that like dings every 10 minutes.
Oh, it's Wunderlist, and it's that's where I just make my to-do list, but it doesn't ding every 10. There's one, it's called like 30-30, where it'll ding every 30 minutes for you, but I just set a timer on my phone. I just like tell Siri.
Oh, you set a timer. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just like 10 minutes.
The Wonder List just helps you with your list.
Yeah, with my list, because what I used to be paper and pen and I was like writing the same to-do list every day, and that is also a waste of my time. So on Wonderlist, I can just make things repeat every day. So everything in my Power Hour chunk just repeats every day. So I don't have to rewrite it every day or cross it off every day, and I can get it on my phone.
Got it. Thanks.
Cool.
You guys, what are some things that you do that works for you? Like, what is something that you're like, oh, this works for me. This is great. I love that.
I will say something that, at least because I can do it, is doing things. I'm also a morning person, so really committing to doing certain essentials in the morning before I even like kind of open up my groups or responding to people. So first thing in the morning is like my personal development. So even if it's just 10 minutes, that's how I start my day. If I can do my workout, like I also do my workout and then I try to do my power hour. So even though it's a struggle with me, but trying to do in the first hour or two my essentials. And then if the day gets away with me with the team, that system has started helping. Like filling it up in the front end, I guess. I
didn't say this either, but Hootsuite, if you guys don't use like Hootsuite or Buffer or something to schedule out your groups. So I started saving templates for my groups to duplicate with my team, and then I just can Hootsuite an entire group out, and I do everything in like batches. That really helps me. Like I'll schedule an entire month worth of a group out. Like I'm still checking with the group, but it takes me maybe like 35 minutes, but then I'm not every morning trying to find a post and schedule it or doing it every week. So batching things really helps me too. But yeah, any sort of like scheduling posting is a time saver.
Oh, another one. It doesn't matter what system you use. For me, I've started using Streak. And what I've liked about Streak is when I talk to people on Facebook, I transition them ASAP to email. And then I have like my scripts in there. Like if they're interested in 21-day fix, I have like a whole script I use of like, here's the specifics. Oh, you want to know the cost. Here's the cost. Like I can literally walk them through everything just in my email with a lot of scripts. And also email gets read a lot easier. So I'm not chasing them on Facebook. I'm not like, oh, you never saw my message. So transitioning to email more has been a time saver.
I was just going to say, I don't have a personal assistant, but I have used Aweber as my personal assistant. And so it took a lot of time, but I've set up like whenever somebody buys a challenge pack, I have a whole series of emails that is scheduled out to them. Like, welcome, here's what's in your challenge pack. Here's when our group will be starting in a week, whatever. The next email is like Shakeology recipes. It sends out to them like the next day. All Shakeology recipes, a couple of my own, and then information on, what will be coming up. And then 2 weeks before they are due to renew or whatever, another email goes out reminding them that they can renew, change things, whatever. It talks about their club membership if they want to do that, the information to contact coach relations. So as soon as somebody buys a challenge pack, I put them in my thing and it does it all. Like I don't even have to think about it again. I don't know if you guys do that. And then leads, I have like all my lead emails. So if I get a Shakeology lead, stick them in, it does it all. I have an online challenge group. So an email challenge group. So for people who aren't on Facebook and before we had the app, if they wanted to join a challenge group, I did a 30-day challenge group and I put them in there and they respond to me through email. So I feel like that has been my huge time saver. When I get a new coach, I put them in this and it has like our team page. It has all the information, scheduled coach emails that go out to them. So I am like a big fan of Aweber and I love it. And you can customize it your own way and put pictures in and video. So that's kind of been my big time saver without like having to pay an assistant, which someday I hope to do.
What was the name of that? For that too.
Aweber.
Yeah, if you haven't used Automatic CEO, that's the one I use. And it does the exact same thing, except they've already written all the emails for me, so I don't have to do them. And that's been like really nice because again, I like would love to spend time. I just didn't have it. So, and then it's also been cool because I can plug my leads into it. That's good to have like a system for leads because even last month I think I had 5 successful points just last month from leads who randomly bought challenge packs because they were enrolled in my autoresponders that I didn't even write. So I think having an email system is really smart too. I like the idea of having an email challenge group though. I never thought about that. It's a good one.
Okay, I'll do another one that I just started with my success partner, but it's transitioning some things to forms. Like we're talking about automating things. So my weekly challenge group check-ins now are a scripted email, and they have a form that they just like go fill out that tracks their progress, like what worked for this week and what didn't. So like utilizing a form to collect their responses, so then I can like help them. So doing that for my coaching application or even my challenge group so I can get background information. Like if someone's interested, I'm like, here, okay, great. Can you fill out this form for me first? And then we'll go from there. So, I mean, we'll see how that works, but just trying to automate that.
And you just send that to all of your challengers each week?
Mm-hmm. I have like an email script in Streak for which week. And literally it links to the form. And I'm just like, here's some tips and tricks for this upcoming week. Please fill out this form. And then I can help you better. And I mean, even if they don't fill it out, it's still something.
All right, you guys, we've got less than a minute left to go. Thank you so much, Cara. That was awesome. And you guys, tag management is just so huge. So you can find different ways to save you. Awesome. There are a lot of good ideas that were shared. Training was awesome. Thank you guys so much for just sharing your best practices and just being here, showing up. Who all is going on the cruise? Awesome. Okay, you guys, do you still want to have a call next week, those of you who are here?
We can. I mean, are you going?
No, I'll be here. Yep, but we haven't leave enough room for the coaches, so only the directors get to go. No fair.
Oh, thanks.
I know, darn it.
Good to see you.
I know. So yeah, all right, you guys, we'll talk about it. So just keep your head in the group and just like